You believe that your mind is a fortress. You believe that your thoughts, your preferences, and your choices are yours alone. You believe that if someone tried to control you, to rewrite your personality, you would see it coming. You would fight back. You would win. You are wrong. The terrifying truth of human psychology is that we are not fortresses. We are open networks. We are biological machines running on a very specific, very hackable operating system. And like any operating system, if you have the administrator password, you can change the programming. Throughout history, we have seen this happen on a massive scale. We have seen cult leaders like Jim Jones or Charles Manson convince normal, rational people to abandon their families, give away their life savings, and even commit crimes. We look at those followers and we think, how could they be so stupid? That could never happen to me. But it can happen to you. In fact, statistically speaking, a mild version of it has probably already happened to you. Maybe in a toxic relationship that you couldn't leave. Maybe in a job that destroyed your self-worth. Maybe by a political movement that radicalized your anger. Brainwashing isn't magic. It isn't hypnosis. It is simply the application of 4 specific psychological principles in a precise order. It is a recipe, and if you follow the recipe, the cake rises every single time. I'm going to give you that recipe. I'm going to walk you through the 4 phases of dismantling a human identity. The love bomb, the deconstruction, the chemical leash, and the reconstruction. I am not sharing this so you can become a monster. I am sharing this because the only way to survive a predator is to understand how they hunt. If you don't know the mechanics of the trap, you are destined to step into it. So, let's begin. Let's talk about how to break a human soul. The first mistake people make about brainwashing is assuming it starts with pain. They imagine a dark room, a bright light, and an interrogator screaming questions. But that is not how you catch a victim. That is how you create an enemy. True control does not start with torture. It starts with euphoria. It starts with a feeling so intense, so perfect, and so overwhelming that you mistake it for destiny. This is phase 1, the love bomb. In psychology, this relies on a principle known as reciprocity, but taken to a pathological extreme. The manipulator does not just like you, they study you. They are not looking for a partner, they are looking for a mirror. Imagine you are walking through a desert. You haven't had water in days. You are parched, desperate, and weak. Suddenly, a stranger appears and hands you a glass of ice-cold water. They don't ask for payment. They don't ask for a favor. They just watch you drink with a look of pure adoration. In that moment, you don't just like that stranger. You would die for them. You trust them implicitly because they saved you. A master manipulator spends the first few weeks or months scanning you for your desert. They are looking for your voids. Are you insecure about your intelligence? They will treat you like a philosopher. Are you lonely? They will text you 50 times a day. Do you feel unseen by the world? They will lock eyes with you and tell you that you are the only person who matters. They are creating a shared fantasy. They are building a bubble where the laws of the real world don't apply. Inside this bubble, you are perfect. You are safe. You are understood. But here's the catch. This isn't love. It is data collection. While you are bathing in the dopamine of their attention, they are taking notes. They are learning your deepest fears. They are learning what makes you cry. They are learning exactly which buttons to push to make you react. They are mapping your nervous system so they can hijack it later. The goal of phase 1 is to create a biological dependency. They are flooding your brain with dopamine and oxytocin, the bonding chemicals. They are getting you high. And just like a drug dealer, the first few hits are always free. They need you to associate their presence with the feeling of being alive. They need to raise your baseline for happiness so high that normal life, your friends, your hobbies, your family, starts to feel boring in comparison. They want you to feel that the world is gray, and they are the only splash of color. Once you are addicted to the supply, once you trust them more than you trust yourself, they prepare to introduce the withdrawal. Now that I have your trust, I need to break your reality. You see, I cannot control a person who stands on firm ground. A person who is confident, who trusts their own memory, and who has a strong sense of self is dangerous to me. To control you, I must knock you off balance. I must make you doubt your own senses. This brings us to phase 2, deconstruction, or as it is more commonly known, gaslighting. Most people misuse this word. They think gaslighting is just lying, but it is much more sinister than that. Lying is trying to hide a truth. Gaslighting is trying to erase the concept of truth altogether. It starts slowly. It starts with the microaggression. Let's say you put your keys on the table. You know you put them there. I move them to the counter. When you ask where they are, I don't just say, I moved them. I say, you never put them on the table. You always leave them on the counter. You've been so scattered lately. Are you okay? I'm worried about your memory. Notice the shift. I didn't just deny the action. I attacked your cognitive faculties. I framed my manipulation as concern. I am acting like your caretaker while I am actively sabotaging your mind. If I do this once, you will think I'm annoying. But what if I do this every day for 6 months? What if I constantly question your tone of voice? Why are you so angry when you are calm? What if I question your motives? You're doing that just to hurt me when you are trying to help. The human brain is an energy-conserving organ. It is exhausting to constantly audit reality. It is exhausting to fight for your version of the truth every single hour of every single day. So, if you trust me because of phase 1, and I keep telling you that your reality is wrong, eventually your brain will surrender. It will choose the path of least resistance. It will overwrite your perception with mine just to keep the peace. This is the unfreezing process in Kurt Lewin's change management model, applied to a human soul. I am unfreezing your identity. I am melting your certainty. I am slowly replacing your internal compass with my voice. You stop trusting your eyes. You stop trusting your memory. You stop trusting your gut feelings. You start to believe that I am the only one who sees the world clearly. You start to believe that you are crazy, emotional, or damaged, and that I am the only one patient enough to love you. But stripping away your reality isn't enough to keep you trapped. To make sure you never leave, I need to hack your survival instincts. I need to create a chemical leash. If you take nothing else from this video, please listen to this section. This is the engine of abuse. This is why people stay in situations that are destroying them. It comes down to a theory discovered by B.F. Skinner in the 1950s, using rats. Skinner put a rat in a box with a lever. In scenario A, every time the rat pressed the lever, it got a food pellet. The result was predictable. The rat pressed the lever when it was hungry, ate, and then ignored the lever. It was content. In scenario B, the rat pressed the lever, but nothing happened. The rat quickly learned the lever was useless and stopped pressing it. But then, Skinner tried scenario C. In scenario C, the rat pressed the lever. Sometimes it got food. Sometimes it got nothing. Sometimes it got a painful electric shock. The reward was random. It was unpredictable. What happened to that rat? Did it avoid the lever? No. That rat became obsessed. It pressed the lever thousands of times until it collapsed from exhaustion. It ignored everything else: sleep, hygiene, safety, just to press the lever one more time. This is called intermittent reinforcement, and it is the most powerful addiction mechanism known to science. It is the same principle that powers every slot machine in Las Vegas. The uncertainty of the reward releases more dopamine than the reward itself. In phase 1, I was the predictable lever. I gave you love every time. But in phase 3, I changed the rules. I become the slot machine. Suddenly, I am cold. I don't text back for 6 hours. I criticize your outfit. I look at you with disgust. You panic. Your brain, which is used to the dopamine of my love, goes into withdrawal. Your cortisol, the stress hormone, spikes. You are in physical pain. You think, what did I do wrong? How do I fix this? You try harder. You apologize. You beg. You walk on eggshells. You are pressing the lever frantically. And then, ding. I give you a breadcrumb. I smile. I hug you. I bring you flowers. I tell you that I love you. I'm just stressed. You're the only one who understands me. The relief you feel in that moment is indescribable. It is a flood of opioids and dopamine hitting a starved brain. It feels like salvation. And because the pain was caused by me, and the relief was provided by me, your brain makes a terrifying association. The person hurting me is the only person who can save me. This is called a trauma bond. You are not staying because you are happy. You are staying because you are chemically addicted to the cycle of cortisol and dopamine. You are the rat in the box, and I am the one holding the pellet. The worse I treat you, the better the good moments feel. If I treat you like garbage for a week, a simple smile feels like winning the lottery. You start to lower your standards until you are grateful for basic decency. You are now fully under control. Now that you are addicted to the lever, I need to make sure no one else can let you out of the box. This brings us to the final phase, isolation. But a master manipulator doesn't drag you away from your friends kicking and screaming. That's amateur. That creates resistance. I need you to choose to leave them. I will use the us versus them narrative. I will plant seeds of doubt about your support system. Your mother doesn't want us to be happy. She's just jealous of our connection. Your friends are losers. They don't have ambition like we do. They are holding you back. Why do you tell them our secrets? Don't you trust me? Slowly, I make you feel guilty for spending time with anyone but me. I make you feel that protecting us requires sacrificing them. And because you are already gaslighted, phase 2, you believe me. You start to see your friends as enemies. You start to see their concern as attacks. You pull away. You stop answering calls. You decline invitations. Eventually, you are on an island. And when you are on an island, my voice is the only voice you hear. My reality is the only reality that exists. Now, the surgery is complete. The old you, the one with opinions, friends, and boundaries, is gone. In their place is a person who is exhausted, anxious, and desperate to please. A person whose entire mood depends on whether I smile or frown. I can now reconstruct you. I can tell you what to wear, how to speak, what to believe, and who to vote for. And you will do it. Not because you are weak, but because you are trying to survive. You are trying to get that pellet. This is how a cult member is made. This is how a victim of domestic violence is made. It is not a failure of character. It is a hijack of biology. I told you at the beginning of this video that I wasn't teaching you this to make you a villain. I am teaching you this because you need to wake up. Look at your life right now. Is there a person, a job, or even a community where you feel like you are walking on eggshells? Do you feel like you are constantly waiting for a random moment of good to justify months of bad? Do you feel like you are losing your mind, like you can't trust your own memory? If the answer is yes, you are not crazy. You are in a Skinner box. You are being conditioned. The hardest thing to do is to admit that you have been tricked. Our ego wants to protect us from the shame of being manipulated. But that shame is the lock on the cage. The only way to break the spell is to recognize the pattern. Stop looking at the potential. Stop looking at the good times. Look at the ratio. Look at the mechanism. Recognize that the love you are fighting for is actually just a chemical carrot used to keep you moving the cart. You have the power to stop pressing the lever. It will hurt. The withdrawal will be painful. But on the other side of that pain is your reality. On the other side is your freedom. Don't let them rewrite you. Walk out of the box. Thank you for watching.